Pilots Union complains about faulty equipment at Cardiff Airport. It is worrying to see repeating reports by our pilots complaining about ILS or other safety relevant equipment at Cardiff Airport being unreliable. Internal memo of Cardiff Airport leaked to press confirming internal discussions about reliability issues of ILS systems at the airport. Safety concerns at Spanair downplayed by airline management. EasyJet Go announces withdrawal from Cardiff Airport by 2004. History is made as expansion plans finally are greenlit. It was a historic day at the airport as representatives of the Welsh government and management of Cardiff Airport signed the papers making a long-awaited expansion possible. Ryanair announced that it would cease all operations of its subsidiary bus outside of its London Stansted base. Dutch low-cost carrier V-Bird starts operations at Cardiff, offering one daily flight to Maastricht-Aachen Airport. After the final decision in favor of expanding the airport was made in October, construction of the new airport facilities could start as early as January if weather conditions allow.
The airport is closed.
Dramatic scenes at Cardiff Airport as plane crash lands off runway. Spanair flight JK457 arrived from Barcelona when it, moments after having touched down on runway 12 of Cardiff Airport, skidded off the runway. Emergency services responded to secure passengers and the plane. Reports suggest that passengers only sustained minor injuries during the incident. Following the incident, the airport was closed for inbound and outbound traffic, creating chaos at the Welsh airport. Teams of the Air Accidents Investigation Branch and the French BEA have been dispatched to Cardiff to start investigations into what caused the crash landing. Weather conditions were reported to be challenging and deteriorating, but still well within safety margins. Meanwhile, reports about faulty ILS equipment at the airport have resurfaced, adding to the speculation around the possible cause of the accident. The airline has yet to make a formal statement, but it is said that investigators will have to look closely at maintenance procedures at Spanair that have been in the limelight of authorities for some time now.
$100, $50, $40, $30, $20, $10, $5.
Hello and welcome to Cardiff, where the morning traffic is being prepared for the first flights of the day. Winter is so far showing itself from its relatively mild side, and we are therefore overlooking a snow-free airfield, but winter services are still actively de-icing planes and standing ready to ramp up their efforts if the need should arise. The mild weather has the added effect that excavation works for the new terminal extension have started ahead of time and is making good progress so far. But it's not only at the construction site that we can find hard-working men and women, so if we head over to our main terminal, we find this Boeing 737-300 of Norwegian. The aircraft arrived yesterday evening at 10 minutes past 11. The aircraft has finished boarding, has been de-iced and is now ready for pushback. Nonetheless, the aircraft will be leaving Cardiff this morning with about 35 minutes delay. Next to the Norwegian, we have a Bombardier Dash 8 Q300 of Lufthansa, which arrived yesterday night from Munich. The aircraft has been prepared for its flight back this morning and will start boarding passengers any moment now. Then we have a ERJ 145 of British Airways that came in last night from Manchester. This aircraft, just like the Lufthansa, is pretty much ready to start boarding and will, once boarding is completed and the aircraft has been de-iced, head back to Manchester again. Then we have a 737-300 of EasyJet Go, which arrived yesterday from Ibiza and now is preparing for its first flight of the day, bringing the aircraft to Malaga in Spain. Currently, catering is at the aircraft and also first luggage is being loaded. Next to a now empty stand, we have a Boeing 737-300 of Lufthansa, which has been deployed to serve the route between Cardiff and Frankfurt. Also, this aircraft arrived late yesterday night and is now being de-iced. It still has about 5 minutes until its scheduled departure, so a on-time departure looks realistic this morning. This, however, is not the case for this Airbus A320-200 of BMI, as it already is delayed by 35 minutes and still is far from ready to go. The crew arrived late to the aircraft, but also proceedings on the ground have their fair share of the blame for this delay, as they also are far from finished with their tasks. Once everything is done, however, the plane will be heading to London Heathrow. Technically, the next aircraft arrived today, as it came in from Palma de Mallorca at 10 minutes past midnight. The 757-200 of Britannia is right now being refueled, and catering is also busy with the aircraft. At 20 minutes past 7, it is scheduled for a flight to Las Palmas. Before we head out to the remote stands, it is time for a quick news update. Bus closes Cardiff base. With the closure, especially the so important route to Amsterdam will be abandoned. The airport management confirms, however, to be in constructive negotiations for a possible replacement. New airlines arrive. Helvetic Airways is confirmed to take over the Zurich route starting from the second quarter of this year. Newly arrived Air Dolomiti offers daily flights to northern Italy. Swiss International Airlines confirms plans to open new route connecting Cardiff with Basel. Iceland Air expected to start operations to Cardiff from the second quarter of this year, for the first time connecting Cardiff with Iceland and thereby offering many interesting connections to the US with only one stopover. Construction started. Construction of the terminal expansion has started, with excavation works making good progress due to mild weather. Increase in charter traffic. Cardiff Airport expects increase of charter traffic over the year and is reportedly in talks with many airlines. Investigations into Spanair crash started. Investigators of the AAIB and the BEA have started their formal investigations into the crash landing of Spanair flight JK457. Airport management is being scrutinized for malfunctioning ILS systems, and Spanair maintenance records are being investigated. Just now arriving and expediting the runway is the CRJ-200 of Air Dolomiti that on today's rotation is bringing passengers to and from Venice in Italy. Its departure time is set to be 10 minutes past 7 in the morning, and unless something unexpected should happen, this should be a realistic target. Then we have the 737-300 of EasyJet Go that arrived yesterday from Alicante in Spain and now is preparing for its first flight of the day, going to the Italian city of Bologna. Passengers are right now boarding this Bombardier Dash 8 Q400 of Flybe, which is flying between Cardiff and Edinburgh. Boarding must, however, be completed in a timely manner if the aircraft is to leave on time this morning. Then we have this little Boeing 737-500 of Air France that came in from the French capital yesterday at 15 minutes past 11 and currently is taking on passengers for its return flight scheduled to depart in about 15 minutes. Then we have the 737-200 of Ryanair that was scheduled to depart for its return flight to Dublin at 6 o'clock in the morning, but so far nothing is happening at the aircraft. Passengers are at the gate, but no news is passed on regarding the flight, which very well could end up being cancelled. Now let's head even further out into the field, over to our furthest remote stands and the maintenance area. Falling short and waiting at runway 30 is this British Airways Airbus A320, which is waiting for its takeoff clearance for its morning flight to London Heathrow. The largest aircraft type so far visiting on a regular basis is the 747-200 of Saudia Cargo that came in from Liège in Belgium and now is taking on first cargo for its flight, bringing the aircraft back to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Also at the beginning of its flight preparations is the 737-300F of West Atlantic UK. The aircraft arrived at Cardiff yesterday night from Stavanger and is now slowly being loaded for its next flight, which will bring it to Glasgow in Scotland. Much less activity can be observed at this Avro 100F of TNT, as it still has quite a few hours before its next assignment, bringing the aircraft to Cologne Bonn. Then we have this little private ERJ 145 that arrived yesterday from Paris Orly with an investigations team from the BEA that will help the AAIB in its investigations into the Spanair crash. The Spanair involved in the incident has been towed over here, where it will remain during the ongoing investigation and until it's been cleared if the aircraft can be repaired or will have to be scrapped. Another sad side over here are these two last remaining Boss aircraft that have been parked here until further notice, but it's likely that they won't return into service with the airline but rather will be sold off. And our last aircraft of the update is this ERJ 145 of British Airways. The aircraft has been in for a routine check overnight and will a bit later this morning return into active service with a flight to Aberdeen. Now that is all for this morning. If you have enjoyed this video, then hit that like button, and of course if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe. With that, see you in the next episode of Cardiff.